This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so today is Wednesday, July 29th, and as always, everything that we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. So, number one thing, obviously, that we're looking at is KODK. So we saw that great building yesterday at 11, pulled back big time, and then we ended up just getting this morning has been nothing but buying. And you have to understand something. The amount of volume that's being traded, you can see it's actually been waxing since about 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm starting to take a little bit of a dip right now, but not much whatsoever. Really, you have to understand something. You're going to see big selling like this. Okay, so most people will look at these prints and be like, okay, well, the stock's done. No, got to think about the size of the positions that have been built into the stock. Yesterday, 234 million shares being traded. Obviously, somebody knew something. So this morning, we just continued every single level, 15, 16, above, below, just buying, 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 buying. So right now I would have liked to see a little bit more of a pullback from that 16, but you can see these prints that are coming in. Like, when we talked about yesterday, new buying, this is what new buying looks like. We're coming to the highs and just seeing huge positions still being taken to show us that this stock really needs to be able to continue to run. Just be careful. Once we get into 9:30 and we get into the open of the market, I wouldn't be shocked to see them really kind of drop things on people, kind of give them that sense false of reality, that sense of hope, and then really give a bar down, because we have not really pulled back from the amount of volume that we've seen coming into this. So overall, definitely has room to continue on its way. The amount of prints that we just got here, you're talking about 1750 basically on almost a conservative side, because it just keeps getting pumped with buying, 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 buying. So overall, this is going to be a little bit of a rough one, because if you're not already in it and you're waiting for the open of the market, you need to make sure that the person that you're following, you get a better entry then. So we're going to need, for instance, let's say 1650 right now. We were going to need it to pull back and then look for that trigger back up. But the amount of volume that's being pumped into this thing, it should not take a long time for them to be able to build. So really, really like this stock. And like I said, it's got the buying for about 1750, give or take. And I'm like I said, I feel pretty conservative about that, but I do need to see them pull back. It's just too pretty right now, especially for pre-market. It's just been a perfect trade all morning. And as we talked about in class, it's too damn pretty. And when something's like that, guess what? There's too many people that are making money right now, and they're using them to push them in. Here's more prints coming in at 1650, more buying, but that buying is definitely a lot less than what we've seen coming in at the levels below. So going to need to see that pullback. Remember, 15 is a big psychological level, and it did pull back the 50 cents to that 1450, but the amount that we keep seeing coming into this, it's an exception, 100%, but you still need to trade it the correct way. Otherwise, you're going to end up getting shaken out within it and getting barred on, because this stock is going to show us a big bar at some point. So just be ready for that, and make sure, especially if you're in the trade right this second, make sure that you have your orders set to get out substantially lower than you normally would. So for instance, this stock has just been, even, let's just say 1450. From 1450, we're now up over $2. Um, you have to be conservative. You don't want to get caught in that, because when that bar comes, it's going to be very nasty. Now, obviously, like I said, we have the buying for that 1750, but just be ready for it. And obviously, this is probably going to be the stock that we use for our class this morning. Now let's talk about a few other things that are on a side list. I don't see much out there. Kodak is pretty much taking, KODK, read as Kodak, but it's pretty much taking all the volume that we see. So HDBX, not too bad. We've seen some really nice buying that's coming into this, especially near these, near the sprint line. We have 290, 110,000 shares that's sitting there. Beautiful buying that came underneath. So it's showing it does have the ability to be able to break this just on the buying that we have alone. Just keep in mind, the highest price target you really want to start with is that double top, because after it gets up there, around that 3, it's not going to be a huge mover, but at the same time, it definitely shows the potential, and it's holding in this consolidation very well. And if you come over here and just look at what this looks like consolidated, you can see we kind of broke out of that staircase right now. So as long as we see continued buying, we should have no problem breaking up above that print line and being able to continue above 3. Obviously, 3 is going to give us some type of, of prints for us to be able to go on to and see if we're going to be able to break past that double top. And then SNOA. So the only reason that I like this, because it's not really showing much. If we come over to the print, you can see, this a little bit decent here, decent there, but since about 8 o'clock, have not seen many bigger prints coming into this at all. And it's a large portion because the orders are just so thin. But overall, come back over here. Let's just look at what we saw from yesterday. So beautiful aftermarket pop-up. And then we're still holding right where that big support level is. That 11 is a big, big number. So if we can hold that 11, we have the opportunity to come back. The only problem is that we don't really have the buying that's above to be able to go to. So going to have to need to see some type of building prints. Otherwise, we're just going to end up seeing this thing fall right back to where it came from because there's just not much that's coming into it yet. But it's got a pretty decent setup looking, a pretty decent looking setup. But it's like, it's just not really anything that's that exciting. It just has possibilities. There's not really anything there for us to be able to go on to yet. And that's pretty much all I got. I'll do another quick scan, but I don't really see much else out there. HTBX, which we just talked about, LB, 346,000 shares. This isn't terrible, but I just don't really see it coming into the market and really doing much trading. The prints really aren't there. I don't see much at all to go on to. It might be something that we put on a side list, but just not really sold. RGLS, yeah, that's pretty much it. TUP and LB looks like earnings. So LB, yeah, that's what we were just talking about, and then TUP, let's take a look. Yeah, but you see how there's just no interest in it. So there's no interest in it into the pre-market. Yeah, it made a big move, but I just have a hard time believing that once the market opens, we're really going to see much volume. Yeah, I don't see it there. It's not a good sign when no one really cares much about it. BA, that's everyday stock. Every day you'll be able to trade it. I know we went over in classes what our patterns were. As I'm watching KODK, it's just skyrocket right now. This thing is incredible. I didn't even get out of my trade while we did, and I almost always do before our meetings. This thing is just incredible. All right, guys, anything else out there that I missed? Anything else out there? Yeah, it's a very slow pre-market. I know there's the Fed mean they're going to go on the stimulus today or something. There's some type of something going on. It's it's a Wednesday with something going on with the Fed. So that might have a little bit to do with why we're seeing things that are so slow out there. So SPCE and have storage. So yesterday it took that huge hit coming into the afternoon, and we're continuing on our way down. Don't really see much there yet, but definitely something to keep an eye on. And then CGC, yeah. I looked at it this morning. That 20 variable is just absolutely incredible. I see it constantly every single time a stock comes to that 20. But overall, just not much there yet. So definitely the things to keep on your radar. But going to be a lot of scanning this morning because once we get closer to the open of the market, we should definitely be able to see more things start popping up out there. Right now, obviously, KODK is taking the cake for everything. All right, guys, let's get ready for our morning. Just remember, as always, patience. 1750. There's the price target. KODK. But overall, like I said, just patience. Right now, it's very slow out there. There's not a lot that's going on. Do not try to force anything. And let's have a good morning. All right, guys. I will talk. We'll talk to everyone in the chat later because we're going to be going into class in about 5 minutes. All right, guys. Happy trading. Talk to you in a little bit.